Yes, I know. We're still submerged, drowning in the waters of the perplexing Pisces season. Oh, don't I know? But Aquarius Bachelor crying Colton has finally cornered Cassie, the Taurus, and together with Uranus, electrifying Taurus, Venus moving into Aquarius, and of course Mercury retrograde, we've got the perfect excuse to revisit Aquarius. And I can come up with some air. So, coming up, Bachelor Astrology, they should have asked me. 7 secrets of the psychology of Aquarius, and one more time, 12, a lightning top 12 archetypal Aquarians. Now let's get away from this water. Follow me. You're turning me on. You're turning me on. The feeling was gone now, baby. Yeah. Okay, where were we? Yes, 2 hours ago I got away from the sea because remember we're taking a breath of air during Pisces season, and of course it being Mercury retrograde, I wasn't able to give you nice backdrops, some nature outside, some environment. Oh no. Yes, of course we can cope with the seagulls, the dogs barking, the cars going past. This is the Mediterranean now in the evening, but I draw the line at drilling in the restaurant next door. I draw the line. Okay, so for once we have a very clean and clinical background. So just me, white walls, spotlights, and a flower. But it's very in keeping, and I'm sure our aspiring cyborgs will appreciate the hyperclinical backdrop. So let's make this quick. As I said, I am really suffering during my kryptonite season. I am tired, I'm exhausted because the lovely crying Colton didn't broadcast until it was 1 a.m. in Europe. So not only am I fatigued by the Pisces fog, I'm also sleep deprived. So let's make this quick. Uranus is all about lightning speed anyway. Okay, where were we? Yes, so with Mercury retrograde, Venus in Aquarius, Uranus electrifying Taurus, we are all going to have to revisit the Aquarian themes, like it or not, whether we're mutable or not. The immutable signs do suffer, particularly under Mercury retrograde, because, well, Geminis are ruled by Mercury, and as are Virgo, in theory, but I've got my own ideas about that, but never mind about that now. But all the immutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are about communication of one sort or another, gathering information in one way or another, and so yeah, we are heavily affected. But never enough about that. With that lineup, all of us, mutable or not, are going to be compelled to revisit all of the Aquarian themes and archetypes, at least until March 28th, when Mercury goes forward again. Crying Colton. Colton's season was a case study in the Aquarian, the supposedly Aquarian archetypes. I mean, and I'm going to look at my notes because I am exhausted, shamelessly. Yes, I mean, with an endearing, nonchalant, all-American boyish charm and this innocent air, Colton effortlessly maneuvered his way through bachelorette suitor to friends with benefits in paradise. all the way to the top spot. He brandished his so queering charitable works and bleeding heart. I mean, the man's promo was stuffed with puppies. Okay, all right. Okay, I see what you're doing there. And he literally peddled his virginity and his unique individuality with a determination, a determined iron fist in a velvet glove that really belied his laid-back, wide-eyed charm. Interesting. Yes, Colton vowed to, if necessary, break with Bachelor protocol and tradition. Yes, and to keep it real and do it his way. His own unique, so different, so different style. Yes, what a rebel, what a rebel. The rules of astrology seem to apply even to reality TV. Interesting. But what is really remarkable about Colton's tenure and his style was that, like a typical Aquarian, he managed to win us over, even though, as Nikki Starr would say, I think we were all aware, or we all felt, that he was a bit of a scam king. I mean, there was talk of not my bachelor. There was talk of boycotting this season. There were screams for Jason and, of course, for Blake. But he had us actually rooting for him and on the edge of our seats by the end of this remarkable season. Even more remarkable is that Colton managed this coup d'etat with a curiously imperceptible brow ridge, baby soft complexions, so soft, and a perplexing lack of muscle definition despite his sporty lifestyle. Okay, secret, or actually technically that should be stereotype number one, which we will actually unveil the secret behind, is of course that Aquarians are stone cold logical Vulcans. Really. And of course, this is a stereotype that Aquarians themselves love to perpetuate, don't they just? Now, I'm going to say this again, and I will keep stressing it until everyone gets the message. Your sun sign is a goal. It symbolizes the qualities that you identify with and strive towards, what you are trying to becoming. Yes? Aquarius symbolizes the highest principles, the ultimate in idealism, equality, egalitarian principles, democracy, liberty, fraternity, and an unwavering social conscience, as well as a love of reason. Aquarians, would love to think that this is who they are. And no matter how much evidence to the contrary, that they're not. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to add the ecology and the love of animals, particularly puppies, it appears. Like all air signs, and this is the airiest of air signs, once again, no, Aquarius, the water bearer, is not a water sign. It is the coldest and the oldest of the air signs. But yes, like all other air signs, Aquarius has an enormous shadow. And air signs are particularly blind and in denial of that shadow. It's usually a big watery shadow that is full of extreme emotionalism, a bratty, childish, completely unreasonable and irrational crazy streak, and shocking naivety. The further out we get in the zodiac, the more collective and impersonal the remit of the sun becomes. And that shadow gets or grows ever larger and imperceptible to the individual. So once triggered, all logic goes out of the window, and it doesn't take much to trigger them. And Aquarius will attempt to gaslight everyone, including themselves, with socio-political pretensions, pseudo-clinical rhetoric, rude, dismissive, abrupt temper tantrums, and a host of a shocking lack of emotional intelligence for one, and a host of other truly unacceptable and uncivilized behaviors. Hence their fascination with Scorpio, the most extremely emotional of the water signs, and perhaps the most uncompromising when triggered. And yes, and also a fascination with other fixed signs, but particularly Scorpio and Scorpio's opposite, which is Taurus. And lovely cornered Cassie is also a Taurus. Yeah, just like our Rachel, but we'll get to that. Aquarius really does need to be more honest, more truthful, and they love truth, yeah, about their lack of respect for human frailty, about idealism, and just utter cluelessness about the impact emotionally that their fierce perfectionism has on themselves and those around them. And those who love, yes, and befriend the Aquarian really do need to check their more infantile and insufferable tendencies with a quickness. Okay, stereotype number 2 and the corresponding secret behind it. Of course, everybody knows that Aquarians are freaks and anarchists. Yeah, sex pistols. Wanna be let's see about that, shall we? Well, it seems that Aquarians are in love with the idea of anarchy and breaking every rule, and they have an innate horror of being dubbed conventional, absolute horror. Yeah, they just don't. If you really want to upset them, call them ordinary, or tell them that they're the same as everyone else. They will throw a hissy fit. And no, they will not to run to the crowd. And I actually think that their freakiness and rebelliousness is actually a clapback against certain traditions of their era. And yes, I mean, they're the symbol of progress and human evolution, but don't get it twisted, yeah? Being fixed and cold by Saturn, they are draconian and can become very dictatorial and very attached to structure and order, yeah? very against anarchy when it comes to anarchy and rebellion against their new world order. I mean, we can see from the wonderful examples in fiction, The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, and Brave New World, that because of the tendency towards becoming a zealot, yeah, and the rigidity of a fixed sign, and fixed it is, yeah, rebel or no, it can very easily lapse into, well, do as thou wilt, yeah, can easily lapse into do as I say. Aquarius is not quite as dispassionate as they'd like us to think. I mean, their opposite sign is Leo, and sometimes they're just rebelling for the sake of rebelling. They really have an intense desire in shadow to be found special. Yeah. And to have special attention that is different from that given to anybody else, or just a mere cog in the wheel. And they actually want to be loved and appreciated by the collective for that specialness that they deny. They actually crave applause on one level. So yeah, I think their anarchy might be a bit of a performance, and part of the driving force beneath that cool, unbothered demeanor. So yeah, I would say there's no need to try so hard to clap back against the existing system. We know it's your job to reform it, and reform it you will on one level or another, yeah, to one degree or another. So we can relax on the Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten Sex Pistols routine. Which leads us right in nicely to secret or stereotype number 3, and the secret behind it, which is that Aquarians are freedom-loving Democrats. Yes, I'm sure they like to think of themselves that way, but once again, it's a goal that they're becoming, and that's flagrant, well, flagrant to everybody else. Lack of self-awareness and that extreme idealism can actually lead to outrageous hypocrisy and chilling dictatorial fanaticism. Again, co-ruled by Saturn, yeah. They can enforce punishing rules, especially on immediate friends and loved ones. And frog march you to a nightmare future that is more like hell on earth than the peaceful paradise of brotherly love that is the Federation in Star Trek. Eventually, I'm just falling apart. My clothes are falling off. Instead of the logical Vulcans who keep everything civilized and reasonable, we could end up with the Romulans, who were the same race as the Vulcans, but ultimately refused to accept logic as their guide. Well, we need to remember that the fascism developed, the fascist regime developed by Mussolini, who was so admired by Hitler and whom he emulated, was actually National Socialism. Yes, got a little bit wrong. As was the Nazi regime, National Socialist. You see how one can remember or positively spoil the idea in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they do dictatorships well. Yeah, they do. In George Orwell's Animal Farm, you know, the pigs that replaced the humans. I can't remember which pig it was. Yeah, it was gosh, it was, wow, it's been 35 years since I studied Animal Farm. But he said, you know, we are all equal, but some of us are more equal than others. And at the end of the book, of course, the pigs were finally indistinguishable from the human dictators and monsters that they had rebelled against and replaced. So there's some food for thought, Aquarius. I mean, certain movements like the transhumanism movement and others of today are eroding freedom of speech, individuality, various human rights. So, you know, welcome to the age of Aquarius. So much for unfettered, unchecked power. Okay, number 4. Aquarians love mankind. Now, this is true in principle. It's like everything Aquarian, a highly intellectual love of mankind, and it is not conditional. No, there are conditions. I mean, they're co-ruled by Saturn. Yes, Uranus is the big cheese, but they are co-ruled by Saturn. And let's not forget that Saturn, Kronos, is the son or daughter of the sky god Uranus, and promptly cut off his daddy's balls and dismembered him at the behest of his mother Earth, because, you know, Uranus was really, you know, very naughty, didn't want his sons to be born, or his daughters, his offspring, wasn't pleased with them. And that mythology behind their ruler Uranus really speaks volumes about this love of their fellow man. Aquarians, and a few are self-aware enough to agree that yes, they love mankind. It's just the pesky individual humans that are annoying. Aquarians can be 10 times more perfectionist than Virgo because of their just wildly unrealistic idealism. Uranus kept stuffing his children back into Mother Earth Gaia's womb because once they were manifest in physical form, human form, they didn't measure up to his idea of what his offspring would be like. They were imperfect. They were mortal. Yeah, so he wasn't feeling them at all. So, yes, the secret behind this stereotype that is true on an intellectual, cerebral level is that Aquarius needs to learn to love and to accept human frailty and mortal limits. Yeah, if they can't at least begin to embrace that and to understand life from emotional and feeling angle point of view, they do seem to have a pattern of losing the very friendship and fellowship and companionship that is so central to them, that they need so very badly. And they can, like Uranus, can become torn apart or cut off from their circles that they need so very badly. They can't reform a collective that they've been ostracized from. Yeah, they can't preach the gospel of democracy and equity when everyone's turned their back on them. So it's very, very important. Yeah. And if you love an Aquarian or have Aquarian friends that you do want to hang on to, I suggest that you remind them periodically that nothing is perfect, and a system that strives to become perfect becomes inhumane. Okay, number 5. Aquarians are kinky, hit and run lovers. It is so not true. And this is where we're really going to get to the Bachelorette Astrology. Yeah, they should have called me. And with or without Reality Steve, I'm a fan. Yeah, I could have at least got close to predicting the outcome. I am a relative newcomer to the franchise. My watching began when I was urged by my daughter, who is a fan, to watch Rachel Lindsay's historical season. Yeah, our beautiful first black bachelorette. Yeah, I love you, Lindsay. I love her to pieces. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, before we get further into the Bachelor Astrology, and wow, thank you, Colton, for really, really illuminating this one. Let's look at that kinky reputation and hit and run, fickle lover. Yeah? Well, no, not necessarily so. No. Again, Aquarians do or can do themselves a disservice, but I've been quite thrilled with the idea that they're the kinkiest sign of the zodiac. Anything to be different in any way. Okay. I think they intellectually enjoy the idea of anything goes. However, this is the oldest of the fixed signs. Yeah. And they're terrified of intimacy. They're control freaks. And they're clueless about romance. The men, at least, tend to be just too distracted in the world of intellect, yeah, and idealism to be genuine players, no matter what they said about our lovely Dr. Abs, yeah. And both sexes can be so childish and find it so difficult to express emotions that, once anyone, and this is especially true of the men, once any woman manages to somehow penetrate that semi-Ashburgers-like defense, like the Vulcans, they mate for life. male of the species, just like Colton, can, have many friends with benefit situations going on. Rarely simultaneously, like I said, it takes a lot to penetrate that defense and to get their attention, But like a heat-seeking missile, once they lock someone into their target, lock onto their target, that's it. They're a heat-seeking missile and they're relentless. Totally relentless. And they care not about whether those feelings are reciprocated or not. Once they get past their terror and their fear of rejection and ridicule and intimacy, it's just like the Terminator. Rachel is a Taurus. And Cassie is also a Taurus. I spoke to you earlier, or I mentioned earlier, that Aquarians have a fascination with other fixed signs, but especially Scorpio, the pinnacle of intensity, and the opposite of Scorpio, which is Taurus. They seem to have a fascination and are curiously drawn, against their potentially Arctic will, towards them. So it's very, very simple. Despite what they said about Dr. Abs, and I think after 2 years, I think we can believe them. And I think it's about time that the haters and the naysayers put a sock in it. Or as we say in Britain, shut your cake hole. He obviously came with Rachel in his sights. He was nominated by a friend who thought that not only would he be very attracted to Rachel, she would be perfect for him, and vice versa. And as he said to Rachel, I came for you. He didn't look left or right. He just came like the Terminator, ignored all the other suitors and their machinations and games and their insults and their baiting him, and locked on to Rachel. Rachel being a Taurus, it's all about being valued. The heart of Taurus wants to be valued, and they like their love to be demonstrated. Now, I am going to do a whole mini series on our beautiful bachelorette Betrayed. So there will be more. But for now, let's say that when Colton finally displayed the full passionate shadow behind that cool exterior and locked on to Cassie, the Taurus, everybody was so outraged at the fact that she was indecisive. She wasn't sure, blah, blah, blah. What was she doing there? Doesn't she know this is The Bachelor? If she wasn't ready to commit, as she had been accused of earlier in the season, why did she stay? But see the prejudice here and the digmatizedness of the Bachelor Nation. They expected Rachel, the Taurus, who was actually the Bachelorette, not a contestant. They expected her to accept the wishy-washy Piscean, and no, they are not a good fit. Taurus and Pisces is not a good match. It might look good on paper, but no. Taurus needs far more direct, unwavering, unequivocal appreciation than a Pisces is wont to give. Yes, but yes, Rachel was supposed to accept this wishy-washiness, this duplicity, and she was supposed to fight, yeah, the way Colton did to win over Peter and to woo him. No. Okay. The Aquarian, or the male, the Aquarian, is supposed to do the chasing and make the Taurus feel secure, yeah, and loved, demonstrably loved unconditionally, with actions as well as words, symbols. So Colton did exactly what Aquarian men in love tend to do, yeah. And he gave Cassie the reassurance demonstrated, yeah, and unwavering exclusive attention that a Taurus craves, yeah, in order to fulfill his mission. And like Dr. Abs, he was the Terminator. He was never ever going to stop until the object of his desire was his. Once they have locked on to you, Aquarians are probably the most stable, loyal, and devoted of partners. Yeah. Okay, you need to like it best served chilled, but they can be very passionate, and again, their emotions are very childlike. So, they keep it simple, yes. And if you don't mind a little frostbite after the initial rush of passion, then you couldn't ask for a better lover, especially if they regard you as a friend. They can be somewhat controlling and deeply possessive. They might have a permissive image and talk permissive and talk like, swinging, okay, whatever floats your boat, but not when it comes to what is theirs. No, absolutely not. Okay. Could we not be hypocritical? And could we let what's good for the goose be good for the gander? And these are the dangers of pop astrology and armchair aficionados that I always rail against. Yeah, if you don't have a proper understanding of the Aquarian psyche and bad shadow, then Colton's behavior might just seem, incredibly unwise and very, very teenage. But I suspect that now that he has bulldozed and cornered Cassie and overwhelmed her with his devotion demonstrated, he may just keep hold of that Taurus. So anyway, like I said, more about that in my forthcoming series. Love you, Rachel. Congratulations, Rachel. Can't wait for the wedding. Okay, well, of course, that leads us to number 6. I'm really tired and getting very worn out. Yes, Mercury retrograde is really taking it out of me and this Pisces kryptonite season. But we'll soldier on. Well, obviously, I don't need to expound upon this very much further. I think I've said it all in number 5. But just for the record, Aquarians are not unstable or unpredictable. Sorry, Aquarius, I know you like to think of yourself as mavericks who are unpredictable, but you're not. In fact, you are incredibly predictable. Once you've had your evolution and you have come to your idea or your ideal or your principle, you stick to it through thick and thin, no matter what it costs, no matter how unreasonable, no matter how untenable it proves to be. Ultimately, you will hold hard and fast. Yes? If you love an Aquarian or have an Aquarian friend that you can see is on a path to destruction or hanging on to a principle to their detriment, I think your best hope is to try to subtly and diplomatically appeal to their logic. If an Aquarian can see the logic of an alternative view, they really, I mean, they love truth and they really have a hard time ignoring it. And that's maybe the only thing that gets them to alter their trajectory. Yes. Other than that, they are a fixed sign. Again, the oldest fixed sign. And they are beyond stubborn. Yes. They are also not unstable or unreliable. They are some of the most loyal people you will ever encounter on this planet. Once you are deemed to be a friend, or they respect you or admire you, especially for your intellect, that's it. There's no going back on it. Yeah, they will always be there for you. Yeah, even if it's not as warm and cuddly as you would like. I mean, that all depends on the moon sign and the rising sign and the rest of the chart. Their support is a staple, yeah, and it will not waver. It will not waver unless, extreme circumstances. I mean, what else do I have to say about this? Yes, again, they are, Aquarius symbolizes change and reveres the principle of change and progress. But them personally, in their personal life, they loathe change. Okay, don't get it twisted. They don't do change well. Okay, so that is another pop astrology stereotype that is simply not true. And finally, secret number 7, or stereotype number 7 that we're going to debunk. A bit of a sacred cow, especially for the Aquarians themselves. Aquarians are mad scientists and geniuses. Yes, they like to think of themselves as that, but wait for it, sacred cow busting alert. I don't actually think that Aquarians are typically or essentially the genius of the zodiac. Okay, I can back up my claims. I can back it up. Let me just get the notes across here. I can back it up. I don't want to upset Aquarians. And yes, you are very special and you are the great innovator. No doubt about it. Yeah. But innovation and creative genius are two different things. And there needs to be a different, we need to differentiate. Yeah. I actually suspect that and believe that the real creative geniuses, that's, new ideas just coming out of the ether, coming out of the waters, just flowing oneness, are Pisces. Yeah, I think the Pisces are the ones who become inspired in a way that I would describe as genius. I think that if we take a closer look, we will find, okay, so don't get it twisted, variant, don't go all bratty on me, that Aquarians do innovate. I didn't say they couldn't invent, but their remit tends to be words that begin with re. Yeah, reform, revolution, rebellion, and so on and so forth. Because what it actually is essentially is the ability to rehabilitate, an existing structure or principle or philosophy or system of any kind, and that is to progress it, bring it to the next step. Yeah, it's like transhumanism, bringing man to become X-Men, yes? Molding man with machine and all that nonsense. And breaking the existing structure, not completely, but breaking it down enough, detonating it enough that we can reconfigure it in a better, more advanced configuration. And that's what I think it is. Aquarius is more about the change in ideals and principles. Yeah, much more so. I'm not saying there aren't any Aquarian inventors. Of course there are. But again, like I said, I don't really think that is the core. That kind of spontaneous creativity is the core, the heart of the Aquarian remit. Yeah? So, yeah. Now, on that note, forgive me, Aquarius. Yeah, you are, you're the fire starters. But I think we're going to have to give over the word genius to our birthday sign at the moment, which is the wonderful, wondrous, ethereal Pisceans. So, on that note, I made it. I made it through. Amazing, Aquarius. I think it's time for a lightning, and the audience is all about, a lightning countdown of 12 archetypal Aquarian celebrities. Yeah. Colton's not on this list because even though he's done a stellar job of embodying all that is Aquarius, his Bachelor achievement pales in comparison to some of the titans on my top 12. So, let me know in the comments if you are an amazing Aquarian, if you love one, if you agree or disagree, and of course any comments about Colton's season of The Bachelor or Rachel's. But like I said, we'll be revisiting that. Just let me know everything. Just react, please. I beg you. And here we go. 12 archetypal Aquarians. Once again, these are not necessarily my favorite, but they typify the Uranian and the Aquarian themes and principles. And I think you'll find that whether it's Oprah revolutionizing daytime television, or John Travolta spearheading the emergence of disco, or Angela Davis, the face of the civil rights movement of the 60s, or anything else, or even Shakira, I don't know why I call it Shakira, using those hips to become perhaps the most prominent Hispanic, Latino, whatever you want to call it, superstar, bringing their unique style to America. I think you'll find that all their achievements involve the word re. So take it away. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Enjoy.